Coming up on Cedar Valley today, the theater in Waterloo prepares to premiere its newest show. And Wartburg alum Wes Bates comes back to perform music as part of MLK Week. And Brentwood Lutheran Services gears up for a big change. This is Cedar Valley Today. Hello and welcome to Cedar Valley Today. I'm Christina Alexander.
And I'm Kaylin Thompson.
The Lead Education Center on Brentwood campus in Waverly is making a transition that may have been confusing to some families who send their kids there.
We first learned of the story after hearing a parent voice concerns at a campaign event during the topic of education. This week I looked into what changes are being made on the Brentwood campus and what impact it will have. Brentwood's Lead Education Center is currently being operated by Area Education Agency 267. But starting next school year, the Waverly Shell Rock Community School District will manage the Lutheran Services of Iowa facility for students with behavioral disabilities.
And so it's just following through with a transition that began a long time ago, and it makes sense for us, since that school is located here, for us to employ the people that are running it.
Clamfith says he and AEA administrators told the staff at the Lead Education Center about the transition last Tuesday on January 12th. He says the teachers already working at the facility will have to reapply for their jobs.
You know, there's some anxiety there certainly when they're wondering, you know, having to reapply and think about if that's something that they want to continue to do.
AEA 267's Assistant Director of Special Education Instruction, Rod Ball, says AEA 267 will continue to provide support staff for the students that attend class at the facility.
We currently have school psychologists, social workers, consultants, speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists assigned to the Waverly Shell Rock District to provide students services who have the needs. That will continue.
Clamfith says WSR plans to continue staffing the school with the same number of employees it has now.
I think it's going to be a smooth transition. I look forward to maintaining the type of programming that we have and serving those students that have the needs that are addressed there.
The same change is happening with the Mason City Community School District and the Pinecrest Center. Again, this change will be effective at the start of next school year.
Waterloo is looking at voting on a proposal to build a new career center and make high school renovations. For 4 years, the Waterloo School Board has tried to get students to become more active with career studies. The decision to approve the proposal for a career center will be made after a special election on February 2nd.
We know that not every single person in the Waterloo Community School District residency is going to like what we came up with, but within our 100 group, you know, everybody had varying opinions and differences, but in the end we were all unanimous in the proposal that we put forward.
Well, where are them teachers coming from? They're coming from another area. I said, well then, what are you going to do in that other area? Are you going to hire more? Because taxes is the main thing. But anyway, that's where I stand on it. I'm all for it.
Wartburg alum Wes B paid a visit to Wartburg last night. Wes B performed some of his music about social injustices and the need to work for equality. He came to campus to be a part of MLK Week. The performance showcased students Andrew Hoyt and Dewan King along with other alums. All of the songs performed were about social justice and the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. When we return, crime trends in Cedar Falls are on the downfall. Stay with us.
Making life better, making life easy, Waverly Utilities.
2015 started a trend for Cedar Falls. Crime in Cedar Falls declined 2.5% in 2015. There were 2,136 crimes reported in 2015 compared to 2,191 in 2014. Significant drops were noted in thefts and vandalism. Thefts dropped a total of 18.9% and vandalism dropped 14.3%. OWIs saw a decrease of 17.5%. For a full list of Cedar Falls Department IBR statistics, visit the Cedar Falls, Iowa homepage at www.cedarfalls.com. TSA agents have their hands full at America's airports when it comes to finding guns. The TSA says more than 2,600 guns were found in carry-on luggage last year. More than 82% of those weapons were loaded. The guns were found at more than 230 U.S. airports during security checks. Airports in Dallas, Atlanta, Houston, Denver, and Phoenix saw the most confiscated guns last year. It is illegal to pack firearms, firearm parts, and ammunition in carry-on bags. However, weapons are allowed on checked bags as long as they are unloaded and passengers inform the airline. Dead Man's Cell Phone premieres at the Hope Martin Theater tonight at 7 p.m. in Waterloo. This story talks about how we memorialize the dead. The Friday and Saturday night shows are already sold out, but tickets are still available for Sunday night and next Thursday through Sunday. Tickets are $11 for students and $22 for adults. Coming up, we find out what's trending in the Cedar Valley. Stay with us.
Whether you live in an older home
or you're building a new one,
there are always ways to save energy and money.
And Mid-American Energy can help.
I needed better insulation. With Mid-American Energy, I got a $1,000 rebate, and I cut my energy bills by 50%.
With Summer Saver, Mid-American Energy pays us to control our AC.
And with all the programs we've used,
we're able to save money now
and be energy efficient for years to come.
The power's in your hands with Mid-American Energy.
Here's what's trending in the Cedar Valley. Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders and local leaders will hold a town meeting in Cedar Falls on another campaign stump this weekend. The event at University of Northern Iowa starts at 7 p.m. this Sunday. Sanders is currently the Democratic leader in Iowa, leading Hillary Clinton by 8%. The Waverly Chamber of Commerce and the Waverly Area Economic Development are co-hosting a breakfast next week. The quarterly networking breakfast is a chance for everyone to get updates from the city, chamber, and sponsor businesses. And now let's take a quick look at your weather.
Are you a high school senior passionate about becoming a writer, producer, editor, or even a cinematographer?
Wartburg College's Department of Journalism and Communication wants students like you to join our award-winning creative community.
We've created a digital cinema and production program centered on real-world experiences, with a goal of helping you master digital skills in video, audio, and live production.
You'll have the opportunity to work in our digital production control room, live recording studios, and have access to our full line of digital cinema gear.
This program is designed for digital creatives who want to explore areas such as screenwriting, producing and directing, digital cinematography and lighting design, music production and digital audio recording, live video production and streaming.
We're committed to training the next generation of digital storytellers. For more information about Wartburg's Department of Journalism and Communication, find us online and on Facebook.
As the blame game continues in Flint, Michigan water crisis, emails have surfaced between the city, state, and federal governments pointing to numerous mistakes and allegations of a possible cover-up. Sarah Ganem reports.
Melissa Mays says the ominous change in the water was particularly noticeable at bath time.
My youngest would tell me, Mom, it's yellow and it's a filmy, gross, foamy thing, and it would smell like open sewer. But we were being told we're still getting used to the new system. It's safe, it's okay.
But it wasn't okay. Far from it. Flint's tap water was laced with dangerous levels of lead. The state knew about it and did nothing.
The trouble began 2 years ago when the state decided to switch Flint from Detroit's drinking water to a new system. But the new system wouldn't be ready for 2 years. In the meantime, to save money, they switched to the Flint River water.
3, 2, 1,
That first decision turned out to be a mistake, as did nearly every step the state took after it. Michigan's Department of Environmental Quality shoulders much of the blame, what a preliminary task force report calls an abysmal public response. At the time, the state agency told Flint it didn't have to add an anti-corrosive agent to the water, saying it was not necessary until 2 6-month monitoring periods had been conducted. In other words, they were willing to wait a year to see whether the water was safe. All the while, highly corrosive river water flowed through the city's lead pipes, leaching lead and other dangerous metals into the water supply, and what came out of the tap in many homes was toxic. Almost immediately, residents started complaining. Their water was brown. Some people developed rashes, became sick. Early tests revealed fecal coliform bacteria. So the city and state officials added chlorine to the water supply and told people to boil their water. Both mistakes which can actually increase the level of lead. At city meetings, residents were repeatedly told the water was safe.
We found the worst lead and water contamination that I have seen in 25 years, and believe me, I've seen a lot.
Residents didn't find out about the lead until this man stepped in. Mark Edwards is a Virginia Tech researcher who tested the water early last year.
It was very scary to see the levels of lead that were hazardous waste, levels of lead coming out of her tap water.
That's right. The lead levels in one home were so high, water from the tap could be considered hazardous waste. His testing led to this EPA memo, an interim report which was leaked last summer. It said the high levels of lead in the water were especially alarming because the state's water testing was flawed, so the true lead levels were probably much higher.
We were just waiting for the appropriate authorities to help Flint residents, to enforce federal law.
When Flint's former mayor asked the EPA for more information, he was shot down, as you can see in this email exchange obtained by CNN. The EPA regional director writes, "The preliminary draft report should not have been released outside the agency, and that only when the report is revised and fully vetted will it be shared with the city." But that wouldn't happen until months later. Meanwhile, families were still drinking water poisoned with lead. The EPA blames the state, saying in a statement to CNN, what happened in Flint should not have happened, and that the EPA's ability to oversee was impacted by failures and resistance at the state and local levels. The state was continuing with its own mistakes, according to Mark Edwards, butchering around a water testing. They not only tested the wrong homes, but altered the reports, eliminating tests from 2 homes that would have shown toxic levels of lead. The state says the changes were legitimate.
They fabricated a report that made it appear like Flint was passing the lead and copper rule with flying colors.
In the fall, the government admitted that there was lead in the water and Flint was switched back to Detroit's water supply. But it wasn't until earlier this month that the state of Michigan started bringing in bottled water and declared a state of emergency. Sarah Gannam, CNN, Flint, Michigan.
After the break, we take a look at fun things to do this weekend. Stay with us.
You're an active person. You always want the best from your body. And when an injury slows you down, you turn to the best. At the Waverly Health Center Orthopedic Clinic, Dr. Linda Martin, nurse practitioner Carrie Van E, and the Health Center team offer cutting-edge technology and personal patient-centered care. Knee and hip injuries, muscle strains and tears, no matter what sidelines you. Let our team get you back in the game. Waverly Health Center. We make a difference you can feel.
Here are 5 things you can do around the Cedar Valley this weekend. For all the kids or kids at heart out there, Saturday provides a lot of fun. Crossroads Mall will give kids the chance to be creative with their Crafty Kids event. Makers Market will be instructing kids on how to paint during the children's canvas painting class. And you can spend the day outside on Sunday at the Cedar Valley Winterfest at Big Woods Lake. All weekend long, you and I will be hosting the Iowa Boat, RV, and Vacation Show, and the YMCA will be holding their swimsuit drive throughout the day. For a full list of Cedar Valley weekend events, check out our Facebook page. Have a great day, Cedar Valley.